Oh, I just saw the time is 11:11.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, I know, right? I do try to shoot for 11 o'clock. Oh, okay. I just got notified that New Light Streaming Love was live. So that was cool. All right. Yay. And I already got our chat up so I can see that. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona, and I am joined this morning by Chris J. This is New Light Streaming Love Mojo, Morning Mojo. I don't know. I still like that. I still like the Morning Mojo. What do you think of that?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I'm trying every morning to get my mojo up. And I love the fact that we're having a poll and a coffee chat. So, right before we came here, I was sharing with Crystal, that I promised myself that I would record at least two of the Joshua channelings every day to get up, right? And it's not lost on me how much synchronicity keeps showing me each day what's in the next one that's going on around me again. And then I was sharing with you that there seems to be quite the draw to the channel for these. I wasn't expecting 190 views on one of them already. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it actually. Um, because right now too, what I was sharing with you about today, it really goes for everybody on the planet. That's why I love this book. For me, this is the most validating book that it has validated things not only that I've come to think of since I've been looking for my inner, but it also validates things that reasons I left religion to begin with because I couldn't reconcile a lot of what I was being told was so about the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Because and I think it's because I felt in Christ's words what this is actually saying. Because of the unconditional love. Everybody has this idea of what unconditional love is, but they forget what the word unconditional when they think of love. Instead of seeing I saw early on that we all have different definitions of that word, rightfully so, because everybody has experienced that word in action in a myriad of ways, including being smacked around as a kid and told, well, I wouldn't hit you if I didn't love you. As those were words that I heard, and God help me, they were words that came out of my own mouth to my child. So I personally feel like every being on the planet has a very specific and unique view and take on that. And rightfully so, like I said, but realizing that the Godhead ha- leaves nothing out of the term unconditional, not one thing, no matter what my opinion of it is, falls short of the glory of God, right? I mean, supposedly. So I feel like this is so timely again for me to be doing it and to see the reaction that it's receiving because I don't share these around. I don't promote them. There's no sponsoring. I don't put it out on you on the I put it on YouTube, but I I don't spread it around on Facebook. I ain't trying to call nobody's attention to it except for what we talk about here or what I say in the video when I record it. And I tell everybody that, I come across because, quite frankly, I feel like and I actually said this yesterday in our family call. I feel like this is what the second coming is. Christ consciousness spreading throughout humanity in a very personal and freeing manner. That's what it feels like to me as a projector. And I look out there and I see that's what it feels like is happening. And the more I let go of my judgment of what it looks like as people come to terms with themselves, the faster they can come to terms with themselves.
Right. I feel like that's what it would kind of look like to me, like a total acceptance of that unique individual.
Which is why I think I was drawn to Silver Rocks when I saw him. Because for me, all of it is beautiful when it's allowed and accepted and not pushed, cajoled, just allowed to be. If it when there's an agenda pushing something in particular, well then yeah, I got to look at some of that, but I don't feel any of that from this cat. There feels like a total acceptance of his self, herself, however, whenever it presents, which is the exact same way I feel about me. I don't have to label what I am or how I move through life anymore. I feel as though this human's body, of course, is female, all those kind of conversations kind of get lost. But I don't feel like I don't feel like that's even the agenda that is going on there. It felt to me as I was witnessing this being and some of the videos that he puts out, a total acceptance of self and a sharing. That's all. Say whatever one will and think whatever one will about it. He's doing him, baby, and I love it. And I think that I don't know, there was something about that whole experience for me. Experiencing someone else being creative and free and allowing and inquisitive about what they can and can't get into. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
that's what I think we are actually doing here. It's just all this other outside stuff we've been tricked into thinking is reality, and we must perform thusly. That takes all the attention away from that.
Yeah.
So, how was the rest of your weekend?
Um, it was pretty good. Yeah, everything's calmed down. I've been having some crazy dreams.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Do we need to do a dream space?
you're right. But other than that, I feel like my mind's still trying to wake up.
Ah, I
I
got
woke up at 5 o'clock this morning and the power was out. And my dog was barking like crazy. So I guess the power people were outside. And then I wound up drifting back off at some point. And then I woke up again and then drifted back off again. And each time I had dreams, as I.
Oh, that's cool.
And then,
Well, it's cool the reason I'm saying that is that I've noticed I want to say it started probably Tuesday or Wednesday for me. Every single night, it felt like I had slept all the way through the night, and I woke up and I'd been asleep an hour. And okay, I don't know if this and it started early, so it couldn't have been from the time change because that was just
yeah.
yesterday, right? So
Yeah.
now last night was not every hour on the hour, but it has been like that for the last couple of nights. And I still woke up and went back to sleep last night. Like it was like I did wake up again and I'd only been asleep an hour and I thought it was time to get up. So but I also know that there's been some large blasts from the sun again. So we just got so much
Yeah.
information coming in because I notice you, me, and other people, in some of the groups that I belong to on Facebook, that's a big topic, waking up. I started to pick up the fairies because they do want to play this morning, but I was told to grab a surrender card first because hey man, there's still a lot of stuff I got to surrender. And so apparently I surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Now, personally, I don't necessarily do that immediately. I try to get to the bottom of what it is. What are you trying to bring up, Sheila? Is there because let's look at the statement. Why have I made that statement? I want to know because otherwise I wouldn't have said it or I wouldn't have thought it. You know what I mean?
Right.
For me, I try to look at, well, what is really what's what's not behind that maybe, but what's the agenda? Okay, so and who was actually speaking there? Because I'm integrating a lot of aspects of myself. Was it the lost, lonely child? Is she trying to get my attention? Is it
Right.
Smarmy who just wants to throw a monkey wrench into everything? The ego who thinks that he knows everything up in here because let me tell you, he's still in here. I can feel him at times want to stand up and put his hands on his hips like the little child that was at the bottom of the stair steps. Remember, I shared that one. Y'all left me down here. What the hell? Kind of thing. It's like, let me explain you something. That's exactly, Lisa was the first person I ever saw that did that. She said, let me explain it to you. That's from for folks who don't get the reference that's from the Three Stooges.
My grandma
And
does that a lot too.
yes, and believe you me, my Smarmy wants to do that from time. So when I saw her do that, I was like, oh God, that's perfect. That's exactly the way I want to act sometimes. Let me explain you something. And I know that that is my ego. I know that that is Smarmy. I know better than you. Why don't you take a listen? And it may be right for me, whatever Smarmy's trying to convince you of. It might be okay for me because whether it's right or wrong, I'm going to learn from it. So I'm okay with Smarmy doing stuff for me. What I'm pulling the brakes in on now is me trying to explain something to you. And that's still there. So I don't try to immediately think positive though, because for me that runs the risk of being of suppression.
Yep.
I recognize my own tendencies to bury stuff and pretend it ain't there. That's how I got to 490 pounds, was stuffing stuff down. So we ain't doing that no more. So I don't necessarily immediately think positive thoughts. That's where these cards kind of come into play for me, where I, but I feel what it's trying to say. And with your help, with you and Lisa on board now in my consciousness and the way you guys have moved to look at your shadow sides and question and things like that, has been very helpful. So immediately going into a gentle questioning of those negative thought processes, I can learn a lot by that.
Yeah.
And That's something that between you and Lisa, y'all helped me with.
Yeah. I think that card would be perfect for someone that's just like starting out on their journey and they're like trying to reprogram the mind to go from that negative to the positive because there was a place and time for that for me.
No, I think you're right because it was for me too. But for me, I saw the risk
Yeah, for sure.
because I
You got at some point you gotta be like, okay, is this spiritual bypassing? You
right.
know, I'm just turning everything into light, fluff, and rainbows and sunshine,
I can't
you
hang
know.
out with you because you trigger me.
Yeah,
I can't be having no triggers because them triggers showing themselves. We can't be having that.
right.
Yeah, but I want to be triggered because I want. That's why I took to calling myself a dark worker because I wanted to see what was in the corner, hiding around the corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you're right. It did. It served a place for me at first, but I couldn't let that go for me and my consciousness without, saying that eventually it could, if it continues. Especially for me, if something presents in more than one way, because that's what prompted me to say puzzle. I was a puzzle piece collector in the first place, right? Because of all the, if I don't look at it, it'll present itself in another way for me, because apparently I promised myself on every level of myself that I would see it this time around.
I just had something come in. Yeah, when you said puzzle piece collector, I was like, I've always termed myself that too. And then, the higher version of myself was like, no, you're more of a pathway pursuer. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean? And I was shown a labyrinth.
You're kidding.
And you know how, like, back when I first started out, I always envisioned this is where the whole concept of Journey into It came in. I always envisioned walking through a dark forest and having to find my way to me, you know? And me and my sister would always go and sit on a stump if we wanted to figure something out. And so it was like a dark labyrinth, never knowing what twist and turn you're going to go down, what direction you're going to lead down. But there's always something fascinating to discover that way, to see, you know.
Well, and that could be one of the many reasons why the movie Labyrinth is one of my all-time favorites.
Mhm.
The metaphors in that movie. Oh my word. And I always loved it.
Yeah. I just watched that movie probably like for the first time, like 3 months ago, maybe.
For the first time 3 months ago.
Hmm.
Oh girl, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I would have told you. I would have said I would have I took at the time he couldn't have been no more than four, maybe even three. I had to go look at when that movie came out. Um, he might have been a little bit older than that, but I took my child to see that in the movie theaters because it was Jim Henson's Muppets characters and David Bowie, which would, I mean, I love David Bowie, right? And I don't know. It's just like I said, I enjoyed that movie just as much as my child did. And he just loved it.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
um, The Fawn came out as I was shuffling there. So I'm sure you saw those metaphors in there, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said, man. That's to me that's right up there with the Wizard of Oz because the Wizard of Oz, well, once you've had the power all along, my dear, you've had the power all along
Yep.
to go home, right on your feet. Oh wow. Okay, so the I wanted to to say here that these cards come with, okay, for some reason the words are just lost in my head. Something must be trying to come in. Hold on a second. I have this, there's a pulsing that's happening. Very interesting pulsing that's happening. I don't know what that's about. It's like it took uh my words away for a minute. Very interesting. Okay, so the key words to this card, which this is card number 35 numerologically, this is an 8, which for me is the upward facing infinity symbol, which is the correct, I don't know, there's something about it, and I don't know what I'm saying except to say that I have been shown many times uh over the years that, and I know there's something to it, but exactly what it's trying to show me hasn't fully opened to me yet. But we envision, or we hold that the lemniscape is this way, when in fact infinity is like an 8. There's it's an energetic thing. I don't know why, but the upward facing one for me talks more about not just manifestation but materialization, which for me is pulling what is being manifested and worked upon in the pre-matter template, pulling it through our physical vessels into what we create as our material reality, which is how I view, well, everything, honestly. I mean, no matter what it is, as it's invented or brought in, right, for the first time. It comes from the soup of all potentiality through us into this physical, what we know of as physical reality. For me, that's the way it keeps showing itself. Understanding, and this card is understanding the nature of nature is the key word. So for me, it's not lost on me that this is numerologically an 8. Natural wisdom, natural magic. The merry, irrepressible fawn dancing in the garden, frolicking in the woods, playing in the meadows, sings out, "Come dance with me." It is he who knows the secrets of nature. He knows where the robin's nestlings are hidden, where the mice lurk, who lives down the rabbit burrow, and where the pixies like to dance. He teaches us to understand, appreciate, and express the part of ourselves that dances in the moonlight with the fairies, sings to the dawn stars with the birds, and hums with the blossoming flowers. This is also the part of us that plants seeds with a loving pat that says, "Bless you," and grow, and provides healing energy for doing just that. No fuss, no bother, just intention and natural human magic. Natural magic is simple. We are full of it. And the more we are true to our own nature, the more we have access to our own magic. Well, boy, don't that make sense. When we are caught up in believing in limitations imposed by ourselves or our cultures, we inhibit the flow of energy, which is the melody of ecstasis song of the cosmos, or the Godhead, is the way I see it, as it sweeps through us. Opening ourselves back up to that song can be a long and complex business once we have closed down in some way. It requires a great deal of thought and self-observation. And perhaps also, well, now I know why the surrender negative thinking card came out. That was just shown to me. If you're going to think about things, think in the right thinking. And I don't even know what that's different for each being, right? It requires a great deal of thought and self observation, and perhaps also the help of others in the form of formal therapy or simple friendship. I listen, that's like I said, I would not be nowhere where I am right now if it weren't for you and Lisa and the work that we've all done together and on the my myriad of channels, because to me, that's what this is. That's all any of these recordings have been for me is therapy out loud. That's all.
Yep.
However, the process of opening is made easier and more gentle if we allow Mama Nature and our own natural magic to help. Yeah, if you ain't feeling it, don't force it. Don't force it if you ain't feeling it just because this cat over here says that's the way for you to go. Just because they sound like they know what they're doing does not that mean that they got anything for you. If you ain't feeling it, don't force it because that's the worst thing you can do,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Just my opinion. Spending time in our gardens, our parks, our forests, and open spaces helps us to reconnect, but but so does growing herbs and flowers and scented geraniums in pots on our windowsills. So does looking at the stars, observing the state of the sky, and listening to the wind. It helps if we simply observe the natural processes and changes around us, or simply just being quiet and getting in. For me, that's why I've said this many times. The entirety of creation endeavors to speak to me. If you're getting something out of it, that's a win win. But it is endeavoring to speak to me. I have to be present to catch it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's really all, no matter where I am or what I'm doing. And I love what this says right here. Because I could be sitting in a waiting room in the hospital and hear a message on the TV that I know is for me from source because it happened not that long ago. We use everything in creation to get our attention. It's just whether or not I'm paying attention to see it,
Right.
right? For me, that's the way it has turned out.
Yeah.
Mama Nature is always up to something. No natural place is the same for 2 moments in a row. Life is about process, not stasis. That's the other thing. We're trying to keep each other in the crab pot a lot of the time, it feels like collectively, right? We are processes, not things. We constantly change, even when we resist, even when we think we are stuck. Come with me, sings the fawn, tugging your hand. It certainly is futile to struggle against the flow of the universe, so we might as well dance with him. Stuckness is an illusion, the fawn says. Dance with me, and it will all come right. And do you know? He's right. At least many of the blocks in ourselves and our lives will come right much more quickly if we could reconnect with Him, opening our hearts to Him and Mama Nature. They too are filled with magic, just like us. Natural magic is happening with this card. When this card shows up, when things flow almost effortlessly, that is a sign that natural magic is at work. Enjoy it. A very important part of natural magic is simply allowing the energy to flow through us. This means both giving and receiving freely. Let the energy flow. Don't push it. Don't try to control it. Just dance with it. Trust it. Remember to keep returning to the source for inspiration and to keep your heart filled with light.
Mm.
What a beautiful card for today. And it just echoes everything that I keep being shown this morning. I was saying I was recording the Joshua channelings this morning. It's all about the lost, abandoned inner child. All about that. And all of us are trying to protect that original wound.
Yeah.
And the original wound is the same original wound for every being on this planet, bar none. That is the original creation of the soul out of the Godhead. The ripping apart out of the sea of cosmic oneness into its own separate entity. And we did it for exploration. We chose, all of us, bar none, anywhere that consciousness is, consciousness chose to go out and experience outside of that cosmic void, that oneness, that sea of oneness. That is the original wound that we're all trying to get back to, that oneness. When in fact, I feel it as we actually never completely left because we are all one and yet separate. And we just haven't remembered that or figured that out yet. And by you and me having these kinds of conversations where you, me, Lisa, everybody, anybody who's having them are adding to the making that space available now for us to step into and say, oh, yeah, wait a minute. We did choose this, and we don't have to be upset about it because we really are all one and singular. We don't have to continue to remember the pain of that separation because that separation is still with us. I mean, that oneness is still to be had as soon as we realize we're all one. The only reason you're separate from me is because you're in that vessel having a completely separate experience from me.
Right.
And I don't want you to be me. Well, where would the sense in that be? Then both of us, why would we want to have the exact same experience? That's why whenever I see us trying to say, you should think this way, why? Why can't they think the way they want to think or act or feel the way they want to act because they're having their own experience? I don't want to take that from you.
Right.
We got 6 folks that have joined us now. Master Light, beautiful afternoon. Well, thank you for joining us. I haven't met you here on the channel yet, but thank you for saying hello. And I don't know. I just feel like I love the fact that today feels like that magic to me because of everything I've been shown since I did wake up this morning. Like, fully recognizing that we have now created that space for that exploration, because I see us moving now from thinking we were completely alone and separate to coming to that knowledge that we are all one and singular. And hey, by the way, how lucky are we? Because we get to experience something completely different from the rest of the all that is, because all of that now also informs the field as to what we might want to do or not do or experience. The next guy might want to, hey, I think I want to experience what they got going on over there next time, or you know what I mean. I just it opens up. Well, the idea of stepping into that what I call the pre-matter template, which is where I feel the cosmic void is that whole sea of oneness, I guess, is there in that cosmic void where all is possible, regardless of what it is.
It makes me think about when I was studying Kabbalistic concepts, and it was talking about the Ensof. You can't really say what that is. You know, you can't put a name to it. And the guy that was doing the lessons, he was pretty much saying the fall from that. You're saying the separation from that. And like the way that I've always thought about it is just like the vision that I've had through the years is like me walking myself back to me being that concept of being one with source or in that oneness. So I'm walking myself back to me. While doing that, I'm exploring, experimenting, having the fun, having the ups and downs. It's the labyrinth concept for me.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that you brought that forward today, the labyrinth
Yeah.
idea, because you're right. Um,
It's the way my brain like understands, can grasp the whole concept of yes, I'm me. Yes, that there's, you are me, a reflection of me. We are all one. I'm walking myself back through this to me, and there's just so much beauty in the creation of how we navigate ourselves through that.
yep.
And it also comes into play, like, at least for me, I'm like, it might take me a couple lifetimes to do that. And that's cool too.
Right. No, I listen, as soon as I let go of some of the mm, again, well-meaning Master Light is saying that today will be huge. Great shift is about to occur today. I'm not aware of exactly what Master Light is speaking to, but I do feel like we've been feeling some really interesting shifts in this whole past week. I feel like
Yeah.
that's why you and I came back to the channel in our presence in a very big way, where we had stepped back. And I know I totally, because I was doing live stuff all the time on the other channel.
There's like so much energy coursing through me right now. And I've noticed, like, yeah, I know I'm being like pretty quiet today, but I've noticed and figured out for myself that when that tends to happen, it's usually because I'm either in unfamiliar territory feeling unfamiliar energy, or with unfamiliar people feeling unfamiliar frequencies, and it's just like there's a lot happening, right? And I'm taking it all in. This is like internal. It's unfamiliar energetics coursing through my body right now. And I'm sitting here feeling it all. And I was like, I feel like I got to yawn, but when I go to yawn, I'm not yawning. I'm trying to get air down into like my solar plexus. Like there's like this sensation of like moving energy down there. I don't know if you've noticed that I've done it quite a few times since we've been on here. And my brain was like confused at first. It was like, that wasn't a yawn. What are you doing?
That's really interesting, okay, because as you know, I I I think it was VQH you and I did together, where at least one time I've been told somewhere, whether it was you or I told myself at some point I've heard these words from a larger portion of myself. I have, and I actually think this might be the case for most of humanity, but I can't really speak to that as a projector. I feel it could at least be a possibility. Um, I'm either feeling the distortion in my solar plexus, or there was a point in time when I was told by someone else that there was a governor on the solar plexus. Now, I have been shown internally, whether it's just me trying to explain to me how the mechanics work of what I suspect how we create, even unconsciously, because I'm convinced that this reality we all walk around in, we create as we move, as we um, as we cognize, so the creation goes, right? Is what, those probably aren't the right words to describe what I keep being shown, what I keep showing myself. So, in terms of the chakras being energy centers, each one carrying a separate sort of frequency come all together. And then the way I keep being shown is something about the heart itself, the physical manifestation of the heart, something about the only way my description could be from what I keep being shown internally is like a black hole and or a white hole, in that our reality, you know, comes out through that way. Again, this isn't exactly correct. This is the way I've been trying to show me some glimpse into what these concepts are and how my understanding of how I create my own reality actually works, right? And so you were saying just now that you noticed the breathing, that you're breathing down into your solar plexus. Over the last few days, I've been having some interesting movements happening, some unfamiliar frequencies, some energy in and around that area for me that I don't understand. And so it's interesting that you hold that forward in that fashion for me. Master Light said your light body is taking more of your higher self in from above, Chris J.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that's true for all of us that are uh, have chosen to experience embodied ascension, what I like to call embodied ascension. Master Light said when things are together and can know their individuality at the same time, that's when harmony comes. Today is like the day of the beginning of the main disclosure. Today will lead us into our new civilization. Your light body is taking more of your higher self in form and from above at Chris, upgrading. The heart will be the gateway into the new earth. And I think that's according to into your Akashic record. Well, I listen, I'm excited for all of what presents. I don't feel in the least bit fearful in any sort of way. I know there's a lot of beings who do right now, especially with what we're being shown outwardly. But I swear, the more I see and the more I hear, I do feel like that space for seeing the absurdity of what we're doing to ourselves is, I mean, I'm seeing it out there, so I think it's a good thing personally. um he said our heart is like, and I, Master Light, I apologize, I said he because your energy feels masculine, but if you're not, please don't take offense because my energy is quite masculine as well. The heart will be the gateway into the and access into your Akashic record. Okay, I'm glad I got to see that now. Our heart is like cosmic generator and defibrillator, and it pumps in more of our true being into us as we gain more access into our chakras and energy aspects. And as we cultivate our minds. Oh, and he is a he. Thank you for answering that. I'm a projector in the human design, and sometimes I can feel an energy and, if and be wrong. So thank you for taking that in the spirit in which it was meant. Um, wow. And Master Light, welcome to the channel. We would love to have a conscious conversation with you because you sound like a very open and being here for me, knowing that this is all for me ever since I looked at my life as a quest of getting to know the truth of who I actually am instead of who everybody else has been trying to tell me I am or whom they want me to be or how they view me at even for my own self, how I view me as me. I'm an archangel, so up above I could probably take any form. Well, you know what? I feel you're right about that. I've been told I carry an archangel aspect as well. I suspect that once each being starts feeling around, we all carry all of those aspects. It's just whether or not all of who I am can't fit in here. I think I must have. Maybe that's why I tried to get to 490 pounds. I tried to pull it all in at once. No, I know that was me running from me, but I have you ever heard that, Crystal? I have heard that extremely overweight beings sometimes are trying to bear the light that's trying to come in. I don't know how true that
We
is.
talked about that the other day, and I had
Right, I
mentioned
know.
in one of my BQ8 sessions, I was talking about how I don't share my light, how I'm just housing it,
Oh,
which is true. It's
yeah. Mm,
very, very true. The other thing that came in for me earlier when we was talking, wrote it down, talking about a collective challenge is being presented with the energy. And this could just be for me and just a few other people, but it's taking a look at what those limitations are on the concept of love. That's what was coming through.
I
And
love that because that's a good.
yeah, I think it also kind of leads into our other topic of like what love really is. But I mean, I've got to take a look at that. Like, and I think it's a collective thing because, especially right now, with what's about to take place this week, like there's going to be a lot of challenges on how we view other people, our acceptance of other people, and well, if that's not a challenge on the limitations of love, then I don't know what is. But I feel like
uh,
that's the more that I'm feeling into like what's coming through for me and what's trying to settle is that because I've got to take a look at what are my views on the limitations of love. Where have I placed those limitations at when it comes to not only myself but other people as well? And that gave me cold chills. So that's going to be a huge thing for me.
well, I think you're right. I think personally, I feel like that is part of this disclosure that Master Light is speaking on here. For me, it is a part of it. There's lots of, for me, anything that is shown on the world, I'm going to say like this, the world stage, is just a manifestation of some of the things that, it's the metaphor for some of the things that we're all being asked to look at. We now, not on this channel and not on my other channel, Sassy C or Sheila, but on Conscious Conversation Central, before it was taken down during the pandemic, part of what I saw in a very real way, energetically, the entire planet was being asked, who do you trust? And who are you going to believe? Some arbitrary somebody who claims to know something you don't? Or you and your own inner and your own, trusting your own self and what you know to be right for you. And so for me, I saw that on a very huge scale, and no judgment. Everybody gets to experience and move through all of that in the way. I mean, but boy, it was huge. I mean, I was even, I think, and I shared it on my other channel. We in discussions about what people were being asked to do in order to keep their jobs. People who didn't feel comfortable doing said things were using language like, I don't have a choice. And I would say, well, actually, that's not true. There is a choice to be had. We might not like the choice. I mean, a lot of times when we're presented with choices, we don't like them. But free will dictates that there's always a choice in every single thing we do. And so I feel what you're saying here on a really huge level, collectively, um, because honestly, there's lots of beings out there that claim that they have other people's best interests at heart. And the things that are it just that there's just so much out there that I can clearly see that I had to get in here and trust me. Um, Master Light is saying one has to open their mind to what's truly in existence and realize they have an infinite potential in their soul. And as they do the requirements for their ascension, they can earn higher ranks. But of course, what I'm speaking takes thousands to billions of years to ascend into greater forms of yourself. Yes, it's a time of clarity and new realization. People must fully take charge of their own governance. The choices are endless. Yes, they are. That's so I feel what you're saying about these new energies. And for me personally, I've kind of recognized, or I used to recognize, that the oomph, the engine, if you will, has always been the solar plexus, but put like amalgamating these energies into the heart for creation, right? And it's through that solar plexus area for me that I think there's some stinking thinking still, and things become a little distorted before they leave. A lot of us are going to get our memories back very soon, and we're going to be embracing our purposes uh, and paths we came here to do. I do feel like you're correct in that, Master Light. That's one of the reasons why I really want to get a handle on just who and what I am, because I feel the truth in that statement. And so, well, the solar plexus is like the filter of the soul to me. Oh, very interesting. You got anything else you want to bring forward this morning, my dear?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I don't have any other cards that are jumping out wanting to present themselves. I will say that um, if you have not already subscribed to this channel, if you're new here and you haven't had a chance to take a listen, I've been releasing these now once a day, one chapter at a time. I have recorded up to let's see, I numbered them because I'm numbering them in in YouTube so that I can, because I'm also putting them up on my other channel. I've only recorded up to 14, the cosmic birthing pain, which is what was today, this morning. Um, and but I gotta tell you, there's so much in here that it's so timely that I felt nudged to read this again because you can tell we did it in book study and it was fabulous. And that's been, we've moved on to another book now, but so revisiting it again for myself has been fabulous. But the synchronicities involved, especially in the last few days of recording these, for me, is just pointing out to me again some more of that communication from the universe as it endeavors to connect with me and show me things. Well, thank you for coming and hanging out with me this morning.
Sure.
And thank all of you. We did get up to 6 people at one point this morning. We have 4 now. We're still tuning in. And thank you so much, Master Light, for joining the conversation. And I will put this out there to you, Master Light. We are going to begin having conscious conversations again with beings who feel called to share their experiences of coming to the truth of who they are. Because that's what I feel like we're all doing. We're just coming to the truth of who we are, and each of us can share if we choose to and or feel called to. Each experience is a trigger to give you a piece of yourself. Absolutely. I could not agree more. I like I said early on in my coming to know this, I actually came across many beings who would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hang out with y'all. Y'all are too triggering. I can't. I'm sorry, but this is just not good for me." Instead of looking at what's triggering, which at the time I didn't understand either. Just to be very clear, I didn't understand at that point that a trigger actually is communication from my soul saying, "Hey, there's something for you there. Don't know what it is exactly, but you might want to take a look, Sheila. Figure that stuff out." Because, I mean, if I'm my own creator, then if I'm triggered, there's something there for me to look at. And it ain't got nothing to do with the triggerer. It has to do with the triggeree.
Yep.
Yep. The books you are called to have information to catalyze your memory. The books you are called to have information to catalyze your memories. Yes, I think that's true, actually. I would say that because look at how because I've said that many times, both in my book club and here, that the books that have presented themselves for me that I have felt drawn to, that's why I say if you feel drawn to something, go there. Figure that out. Why are you drawn? There's something there.
Mm-hmm.
There's something there. Okay, well, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it or found something out of it, or it's really mostly for me. But if you get something out of it, I feel like it's a win-win. As I've said before, this is really more me talking to me than anything else. I know that might sound silly to some people, but it sounds perfectly plausible to me. All right, my love. Well, till next time, Master Light, if you're interested in having a conscious conversation with us, that you're willing, we don't have to do it live. We can do it recorded, and then if anybody, decides at the last minute that they just don't want to do it, I'm not about forcing people anymore to have conversations with me. But I love having them because if someone is drawn to having a conversation with me, hey, there's something there for me. Maybe there's something there for you. I don't know, but I just throw it out there from time to time. So hit us up, consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com or New Light Streaming Love, and go to www.knew light streaming love. Yeah, I keep forgetting that part, huh? Who knew you could have a website .love? But we got one now, and we're a New Light team on X. And Crystal, how does it work for the Spotify? Is that an automatic thing, or do we have to? I don't know nothing about how that works.
We have a channel on there.
Yeah, how, so just I see. This is where I get lost because I don't know how to operate none of this stuff.
How do you find it or?
Well, no, at one time, okay, so at one point, somebody set it up for me when I had Conscious Conversation Central that whenever I uploaded anything on YouTube, it automatically went over to what is now X, but it was Twitter at the time, and it automatically went over to the Rumble. I never even had to worry about it. I just uploaded it on YouTube, and somebody helped me figure out how to set it up. Now, that's been a long time ago, and I don't remember.
Okay, so we do have it set up to whatever you're putting on YouTube, it should be over on Rumble. I
Okay.
could never figure out how to do that to Twitter, or Spotify. The
Okay.
last I remember when I was looking into it, like it's not a thing anymore. Or
Oh,
I just
bummer.
couldn't figure out how to do it. But Rumble, yes. Spotify, I was having to go in and do that separately. And apparently on Spotify, you have to make a playlist. So I did that a long time ago. So I don't know where it actually left off, but there's nothing new on there.
Okay. All right. Masterlight said, I hope to share as much to the world as I am able. I have a lot to give to everyone. All of us soul tribe will be united. I feel that so. Well, Masterlight, please do reach out to me. Because I would love to have even just a one-on-one conscious conversation if you're open. Um, would love to, have a Zoom chat and see about that. So we definitely won't see you tomorrow, though, right, Crystal? Is that right?
Yeah, not tomorrow.
Okay. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. My granddaughter is coming to spend the night with me tomorrow because they don't have school tomorrow because of what is going on the planet tomorrow. Um, so I don't know if I will be coming. I may not show up for a morning mojo tomorrow morning. Um, if if I do, I will be accompanied by my granddaughter. So I'm not certain that I will be doing that. So we'll see how that goes. Um, Otherwise, you know what, Master Light? Don't even know how to operate that. So nope.
We do have all.
Yeah, you're right. We do. I don't. That's why I said
It's the
see.
same on every.
Okay, so New Light.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up here. It's New Light Streaming Love on TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, and Rumble. And we're New Light Team on X. But again, because of, well, I'm not trying to sell nothing, and we're mostly now, of course, Crystal does have a shop on knewlightstreaming.love. Um, with your artwork and things like that. And because you are a single mom trying to pay your rent, and I get that. And so that's why we have that there. And anybody that wants to support us could go and take a look at what Miss Crystal has over there. And because, hey, I do that too, by the way. Any gifts that I want to buy somebody, I actually go to Crystal. Once I get my technology stuff all together, I'm going to be doing a lot of videos and knowledge sharing. Well, look forward to that, Master Light. I know that that's been since 2017. I keep being shown that I was told, my inner guidance told me there would be a whole new way of connecting with each other, and entertainment, and a need for authentic sharing, basically. And so I view that as what we are building here. I don't have much of the resources right now, so just give me a bit more time and I got you on that offer for sure. Okay, awesome. Well, listen, let me just, as you can see, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just being called to get out here and share with what I do know because obviously the tribe is gathering. So, yeah, you're right. So, don't hold yourself back because you think you don't have the resources to do thus and that and the other. That's what I have been told and called to. I share what because, well, what, you know what was said to me the other day internally, Crystal?
Hmm.
Before we came back here and started sharing authentically again, it's like, well, how your soul tribe gonna find you if you ain't putting yourself out there? I'm 63, don't know anybody here locally, and so I'm not getting out there and sharing my light. How your soul tribe gonna know to find you if
Right.
you ain't showing up and showing out? So for me, that's what this is. So, till next time, I hope everyone will move towards that which brings you the highest joy and what draws your attention because there's something there for you, no matter what it is. I can label it a mistake if I wanna, but I've learned some really good stuff from some of the mistakes I've made. And I see them now not as mistakes. That's just what I wanted to think of it at the time because it wasn't very pleasant.
Right. Same.
Bye, sweetie heart.
Uh,